Hello everybody, Mr. Effect Films here, and yes, after a super long absence, I am back, doing my thing, and I'm gonna get things started with, because I during my long hiatus, I finally got myself a PS3. Yeah, I know, get a last-gen system when the new gen begins. Whatever. So yeah, finally got myself a PS3, because up to now I've only had a 360, and my 360 broke, so I got a PS3. And I've been doing a lot of gaming as of late, particularly through two series. The first one being Infamous, and the second one being Uncharted. I'm going to save Uncharted for a separate video, but right now, because I actually just got done, like not even 2 minutes ago, I just got done beating Infamous 2. So I've beaten Infamous 1 and 2, and I'm going to go ahead and, excuse me, and I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts on those here and now while it's still fresh in my head. So, starting with Infamous 1, wow, I friggin' love this game. It is so good. But you know what's weird is, up until the very end, and I should probably say right now, both of these, I am going to have spoilers for both of these games in here. Well, Infamous 2 maybe not, because I actually don't have I guess I should go ahead and say this now, I actually don't have a ton to say about Infamous 2, if that gives you an idea of how I feel about it. But Infamous 1, I am definitely going to be getting into some major spoilers talking about this one, so fair warning right now. Because I've thought about doing a non-spoiler section and then a spoiler section, but I'm like, I won't really be able to discuss it really that deeply at all without getting into spoilers. And if you've played the game, you know why. There's one in particular that happens at the very end, and like I said, if you've played, you know which one I'm talking about. But there is a major twist that happens like right at the end, after the final boss fight. And up until that point, my opinion was, this is a really good game, strong narrative, strong gameplay, strong everything. It's really good. But after that twist happened, and with that in mind, thought back on the entire game, I was like, you know what? No, scratch that. This game is fan-freaking-tastic. I love it. It's so good. So I'll talk about the stuff with the narrative here in a minute, but I'm going to talk about the gameplay first. At the time, or I guess I should say, when I first played this, I considered this the best superhero game ever made. But now that Batman Arkham City, the Batman Arkham stuff's out, I don't know. I'd have to replay those and see what I think, because when I played Arkham City, I was like, I think this is the best superhero game ever made, but Infamous, I don't know. I beat Infamous a couple days ago, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I'd have to replay those and really think about it. But as it stands, I'm gonna say I think Infamous 1 is the best superhero game ever made, and a lot of that has to do with just how it was made. First off, it's a PS3 exclusive, so the game has a lot of power and hardware to work with. Which, if you've seen any videos on the making of Infamous, you know that this was the whole reason Sucker Punch decided to develop for the PS3s, because they wanted all that extra power and space to be able to craft Empire City so that you can run around and do whatever. Which is another thing. It's an open world game, which is always really cool, always fun to play. And since it's a city and you have electrical superpowers, well, you can imagine the wondrous possibilities that offers. But I guess I was trying to think. I wanted to say this for later, but I guess I'll go ahead and start this out now. I really love the way the game opens. Because the whole thing is that there's this massive explosion that happens in Empire City, and as a result, the main character Cole gets electric superpowers. Yeah, logic. No, but for real, that is actually explained later on. Because at first I'm thinking, Why in the world would an explosion give you superpowers? But whatever. Like I said, it's explained later on. It's not like it's a plot hole or anything. It does get explained. But like I was saying, I love the way it starts, because normally you would think, they would want to get you into, like, some opening tutorial level, which they kind of do, but it's done very differently from what you would think a tutorial would be done. The game basically starts literally right after the explosion. Like, Cole wakes up, standing in the center of this massive crater from the explosion, and his buddy Zeke's calling him on the phone, and he's just got to get out of there, because the whole thing's just blown up. And it's this really, really tense. It's really tense. Cole doesn't have a clue what's going on, and by extension, neither do you, the player. And it's really, really cool. The music, which is composed by this guy, Amon Tobin, I believe is his name. I'm not familiar with any of his work prior to this, or even since, but the whole soundtrack to this game is really good, and particularly what you'll hear in the opening section, right after the explosion happens, is just great. I think it's also worth noting that if you start a new save file and start to play the game, at the main menu, when it says press start, the explosion happens right there, right then and there immediately. Like, there's really no load times in this game, which is also really cool. I mean, you have to install it, of course, and you have to wait for that to happen. But after that, there really isn't any load times in this game. I guess it's kind of like a Naughty Dog thing, because since Jak and Daxter, they haven't had load times in their games either. So yeah, like I was saying, the whole opening intro is just really cool. You see Cole use his electric abilities for the first time, completely by accident, of course. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. In fact, by the time this section's over, he calls down a lightning storm completely by accident. It's both tense. It's kind of scary, but but in retrospect, it's kind of funny. I'm just like, he just calls down a lightning storm by accident and fries a bunch of police cars and stuff. It's cool. It's messed up, but it's kind of funny too. So yeah, like I was saying, that whole opening section was just great. The way your abilities and your powers progress throughout the game is really cool. And whatever powers you get, the game has an upgrade system that lets you slowly, boost whatever powers you get. You start off with just a simple, shock power where you can just shoot a quick bolt of lightning. But then later on, you get the ability to throw shock grenades, which, as the name implies, blows up after you throw it. That's really cool. You get the ability to make this little shield thing, which can block bullets. Which, trust me, that comes in handy much later, because this is one of the few negatives I have about this game, which is I feel like towards the end, the difficulty spike is insane. I mean, dear God. There's literally a point where you are fighting massive trash conduit thingies while fighting air drones, while at the same time fighting random street gangs firing you with rifles and stuff. It is just ridiculous. Towards the end, every other mission, I was dying 50 times. It got absolutely insane towards the end. Having said that, the ending still has some awesome moments, particularly the final battle with Kessler, who is the main villain of the game. And he is also a fantastic villain. He's, well, I'll say this. He's better than any villain that's in Infamous 2. I'll just say that right now. And, well, should I say that? Well, we're at, 9 minutes, 15 seconds? Okay, yeah. I guess we'll go ahead and just dive into the biggest spoilery thing. That is, at the very end, the big reveal is that Kessler is actually the future version of Cole, the guy you've been playing as the whole game. And the whole thing is that, basically, it's revealed that all he's been doing throughout the whole game is he purposely set up the blast to happen. Now, it's not explained how he got his powers the first time around, because that wouldn't have happened. unless it's like Terminator, where the whole thing is just like a time paradox or something. I don't know, but that's not. No, well, no, that couldn't have been the case because he and Trish didn't get married. I don't know. Trish, if you don't know, is Cole's girlfriend in the game. And I actually like the way that they reveal that Kessler is the older version of Cole, because what you see is Kessler holding a picture of what is said to be his wedding picture, and it's a picture of Cole marrying Trish, and you see Zeke in the background as the best man. And I was just like, what? Like, it was like holy crap! Like that just blew my mind. And then like 2 seconds later, Cole says it. He's like, "Oh my god, me and Kessler are the same person." I was like, holy friggin' crap! This is crazy, man. Because I mean, it's a superhero story, so I guess I should have expected time travel to be involved somehow. Because if you read comics, you know that that's kind of typical. But still, completely caught me off guard, man. I don't know if anybody else saw that coming, but it caught me completely off guard. I did not see that coming. So yeah, it was just freaking awesome, so good. I don't really know what else I don't really know what else I have to say about Infamous 1. It's such a good game. Like I said, that ending twist just makes it all the better, because one of the other things this game has, and I guess I should probably mention this is kind of important, is that this game has a karma system in it. And if you don't know, a karma system is basically where they make it so that a lot of RPGs have this, where you can choose whether you want to be a good guy or a bad guy. In the case of Infamous, you can be a superhero or you can be a supervillain. And I'll say this, if you don't really care about anything, you can just go ahead and be bad or whatever. But if you want the full effect of the story and everything, and if you want to really at least sort of feel like you're experiencing what Cole's experiencing, if you want to get closer to his character and whatnot, I would say it's probably best that at least on your first time playing, you should probably aim to be a superhero and not a supervillain. I think everything that happens, and especially when you get to the end, I think it'll hit you a lot better, and it'll resonate with you a lot more if you choose to be a hero the first time. I'm just saying that's my own personal opinion. Maybe you might not agree, but whatever. I'm just saying the first time playing through, I would recommend you play as hero. Okay. After that, do whatever you want. I'm just saying. But like I was saying, the whole karma system thing lets you choose whether you want to be a good guy or a bad guy, and at first, it's just like, well, this is 2009. A lot of games back then were kind of jumping on the whole hype train of, oh, karma systems, that must be what sells games. And so, yeah, we're just going to do that. But like I said, when you get to that ending and it's revealed that Kessler is you, he's the older version of you, and he's the villain, which obviously means he's evil, then suddenly the karma system doesn't seem to be purely a gameplay mechanic. It's almost like the karma system is there to help tell the story, if that makes sense. Because it's like, okay, you have Kessler, who, like I said, is evil. He's the main villain. He's a bad dude. And if you choose to be a good guy throughout the whole thing, and then you get to the end and find out, holy crap, he's me. He's the future version of me. Well, I feel like that more than anything else really validates them using a karma system. Because you could almost argue that the fact that you can choose whether you want to be good or bad is foreshadowing that twist. Because Cole has the potential to be evil. Which you find out by the end, yeah, he could be evil because this is him in the future as an evil dude. So I think that all worked out really, really well. And like I said, it just made the game all the more better for me. Like I said, this is... I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This is probably one of my favorite games ever now. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to go back and replay it at some point. Just fantastic game. Absolutely love it. If you've not played Infamous, well, if you've not played it, I probably just spoiled the whole thing for you. But even so, I would still say you should definitely give it a shot and play it. I think if you like open world games, if you like comic books, that's something else I forgot to mention. I love how the cutscenes are handled. Well, There are some in-engine game cutscenes, and those are okay. They're a little choppy, a little, they're not great, but they're okay. They do the job. They're all right. But the majority of the cutscenes you'll see are actually done in this really cool graphic novel style. If you've ever seen a motion comic, it's a lot like that. Basically, all of the cutscenes are motion comics, and it's really, really cool. I love that they did that. It just looks really nice, and this does carry over into Infamous 2, and I like that they did that. So yeah, that's about all I've got to say about Infamous 1. Again, if you've not played it, definitely check it out. It's really, really, really good. Okay, so moving on to Infamous 2. One of my buddies at work said that he really, really enjoyed Infamous 2. Now, how he feels about Infamous 1 in comparison, I don't know. I'll probably ask him next time I see him. But he really, really loved Infamous 2. He was hyping it up for me. He was like, dude, it's so awesome. You've got to play it. And I was like, well, I need to beat Infamous 1 first. Because at the time, I hadn't beat Infamous 1 yet. And so after I beat Infamous 1, I was like, oh man, this is great. I can't wait to play Infamous 2. He was telling me it's so good. And usually when he tells me a game is good and I play it, it usually ends up being really good. Like, he's almost never wrong about this stuff. Which... Infamous 2 is not a bad game. I just want to say that right now. It's not a bad game at all. It's actually a pretty good game, I think. But that's just it. Infamous 2 is a pretty good game, whereas I feel like Infamous 1 was one of the best games I'd ever played in my life. I think you can see what the problem is here. Needless to say, I was a little let down by Infamous 2. Now, here's the thing. Infamous 2 is without question, I think, a much more fun game than Infamous 1. Which is already saying something, because Infamous 1 is already pretty fun to play as is. It's a very fun game, I think. Infamous 2 gives you a lot more powers, much more abilities. You can choose later on whether you get advancements as far as... Because all throughout Infamous 1 you get electric-based superpowers. But in Infamous 2 you can actually get a whole separate element. You can either get fire or ice. Now, on my playthrough, I got ice. And the ice powers are pretty cool. I might play through it again just to see how the fire powers work, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I love the variety of abilities. There's one power in particular where I think it's called the lightning tether or something. I don't know. I just took to calling it the static sling, because that's basically what it is. It's basically an electric slingshot that lets you like fling yourself from one area to another. Oh my god, that is such a fun power to use. By the end of the game, that was easily my favorite power. I used it so much. That power is a lot of fun to use. And like I said, that's really the biggest praise I can give Infamous 2. It's a lot of fun. It's even more fun than Infamous 1. But that's also kind of the problem, for me anyways, because Infamous 1 was a lot of fun too, but it also had a really strong narrative and characterization to back that up. Infamous 2, again in my opinion, just didn't really have that. It starts off okay. I love the beginning where you're fighting the beast. Cole's just wailing on it. He's giving it everything he's got. He's calling down lightning storms on it, and it's not enough. He gets the crap kicked out of him. And so he's like, I gave that thing everything I've got. It's not enough. I need more powers. I need to get more powerful, or I'm not going to be able to stop this thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're off to a good start. And that's about as good as the narrative gets, unfortunately. At least to me. There's a cool little subplot involving this political leader by the name of Bertrand, I think is his name, who's basically just running around killing conduits. If you don't know, conduits are basically... Think mutants from X-Men, just people with powers. Conduits are basically like mutants in this universe. He's just going around killing conduits for some religious reason or something. I don't know. I didn't really care that much, to be honest. And like I said, that's kind of the problem, is I didn't really care that much about what was going on, which is the polar opposite from Infamous 1, where I not only cared but was deeply invested in what was going on. And yeah, it's it was kind of a bummer. Like, I got to the end, and I'll say this: the ending does actually hit you pretty hard. I'm not going to say why specifically. That is one spoiler I'm not going to give away. But I will say the ending is it's really sad. It gets to you a little bit. But other than that, there's not a whole lot of moments I can really talk about. Like, I could have kept going on about Infamous 1 all day, really, because it's just that good. But 2, just not a whole lot of. You know what? I think that's kind of I think that more than anything is the problem, is that aside from the improvements in gameplay, Infamous 2 really isn't that memorable to me. Now, I think part of that is also because is location. I really did not like New Marais that much. Part of this is because I don't mean any offense to anybody out there. If this is you, this is just a personal thing. I kind of have an inherent bias towards Hicks. It's just, it's, again, nothing personal, but I just, they kind of annoy me. And New Marais is basically Hickville, so yeah, that did not sit well with me at all. It kind of got a little annoying after a while, especially since Empire City was really, really cool. It felt like a living, breathing city. It was a lot of fun to explore and play around in. And you leave that and gets replaced with this. And I'm just like, okay, all right, I'm like, I dealt with it, I'm trying to think of something else good I can say about Infamous 2. I mean, even the soundtrack I don't think was as good as Infamous 1, but I don't know. The blast shards were more fun to collect, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, there's not a ton of good stuff I can really say about Infamous 2. It was good, again, not a bad game at all. Just personally for me, it was a kind of after the awesomeness that was Infamous 1, going into Infamous 2, it was kind of a letdown, I'll be honest, I don't know that I'll ever play Infamous 2 again, unless I just want to see what the firepowers are like, I guess. I imagine myself going back to Infamous 1 at least 2, maybe 3 times. Maybe even more. But 2, I'm like, I don't know. I guess if I'm just bored one day and I don't want to play anything else, maybe. But otherwise, I don't really know that I'll ever play Infamous 2 again. So, but again, that's all just my thing. I'm sure some people, if the stuff I'm complaining about, if you don't care about that type of thing in a game usually, then I would highly recommend Infamous 2, because I think you'll have a blast with it. And despite the complaining I've done, I did have a lot of fun with Infamous 2. It's just, Infamous 1 gave me more than that, and I was hoping for that again. So, but again, just my opinion. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on Infamous 1 and 2. Overall, the series as a whole, and I've not played Second Son because I don't have a PS4, but, and plus, Second Son focuses on a different character by the name of Alex, I think is his name, whereas 1 and 2 focus on Cole McGrath. And I guess that's another thing I should mention. I really, really liked Cole's voice actor in Infamous 1. He's a little gravelly, but that type of thing doesn't usually bother me. I mean, I dealt with Christian Bale's Batman, so who cares, But, yeah, it's a little gravelly, but I like it. It was cool. And Infamous 2, and again, I don't want to just bash this game so much, but man, they even screwed up the voice actor for Cole. Now, granted, I don't know if it's because the original voice actor didn't want to come back, or if something went down and they fired him, or what. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he had a prior engagement and couldn't do Infamous 2 because he was busy voice acting something else, or whatever. Whatever the case, he wasn't able to come back from Infamous 2, and the guy they replaced him with, oh my god, I'm just going to be honest, I didn't like it. I did not like Cole's new voice at all. The difference in his voice, because the thing is, normally things like that don't bother me, but the thing is, his voice is so different from that of Cole's in Infamous 1 that it was distracting. Like, I kept having to remind myself this is supposed to be the same guy from Infamous 1. Like, they feel like two different characters, I guess is the best way to say it. The voice is so different that they feel like two different characters, and that was really, really distracting. So, yeah, again, another bit of a setback. And again, I'm not trying to bash on Infamous 2 so much. Like I said, it is fun, but compared to Infamous 1, it was a disappointment. It was a bit of a letdown. So, that's about all I got to say about Infamous 1 and 2. The series overall, I would say, is very good. Like I said, 1 just set the bar so high, and in the end, I guess they just kind of dropped the ball with 2. So, but if you've not played the series, I do recommend it. It is quite good, especially, if nothing else, I would say at least play the first one. You've got to play the first one, if nothing else. And then, if you want to, go ahead and play 2, but you've got to play the first one. So, that's it for my review of Infamous 1 and 2, and I will see y'all later. Peace.